Well, Senator John Kennedy led a hearing recently over the consideration of banning LGBTQ-themed books from high schools due to their sexually graphic nature. Kennedy read a few excerpts from the text, but what you may hear will shock you. And some of you have been following along. You're not going to be shocked at all, but disgusted. Hello and welcome back to Resist the Mainstream. I'm Steve Inman, reporting the news the mainstream won't. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and of course hit that notification bell to stay up to date with the latest reports. Well, in what can only be called an incredibly disturbing moment, Senator John Kennedy, a 71-year-old man, reading direct quotes from two pro-LGBTQ novels, which included violent sexual depictions and events in more detail than you'd like to read. While some may think banning any book is always wrong, the fact that these texts are being pushed into minors via high school libraries is angering many parents across school districts. Rightfully so. Although he only read a couple separate quotes, they're not the only suggestive parts of each book. Check out this clip. It's very disturbing. Be warned.
Let's take two books that have been much discussed. The first one is called All Boys Aren't Blue, and I will quote from it. I put some lube on and got him on his knees, and I began to slide into him from behind. I pulled out of him and kissed him while he masturbated. He asked me to turn over while he slipped a condom on himself. This was my ass, and I was struggling to imagine someone inside me. He got on top and slowly inserted himself into me. It was the worst pain I think I have ever felt in my life. Eventually, I felt a mix of pleasure with the pain. Close quote. All Boys Aren't Blue. The second is another much discussed book. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's called Genderqueer. Okay? Let me read an excerpt from that. Quote, I got a new strap-on harness today. I can't wait to put it on you. It will fit my favorite dildo perfectly. You're going to look so hot. I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me. End quote. Now, Mr. Secretary, what are you asking us to do?
I'd say I'm shocked, but I'm not. This is something the Democrats have been pushing for quite some time. I don't know why we're not debating this. I don't know why this is still up for debate. And I don't know why people aren't being arrested for pushing these books in the first place. There used to be a list, the pedophile registry. That's what we need to bring back for these idiots. Now, if the debate were amongst adult accessibility, that's another conversation. But if you're an adult, buy whatever books you want. The problem is this is being pushed onto minors, children aged 14 to 17, and sometimes younger, attend high schools on a regular basis. Any parent would be outraged to hear violent and sexually explicit texts, to their youth's consumption. When it comes to our children, subjects like this must be approached differently. To make matters worse, the opposition at the hearing did not acknowledge only how explicit the quotes were, and instead defended the books, claiming they were out of context.
How would you like me to refer to you?
Senator, your definition of sexual is synonymous with LGBTQ identity.
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you to tell me you read those two excerpts.
Genderqueer.
Do you think that, are you asking that only librarians and not parents have any say in whether minors can read those books? Is that what you're saying?
Genderqueer has never been in my school library, so it's never been banned.
Well, suppose it was. Should it be up just to the librarian, or should parents have a say?
There should be facilitation of collaboration between students,
Should parents have a
educators.
say?
Parents should be working with students and educators to be making decisions because students are...
And who decides ultimately? The librarian, or do you take a vote, or who takes the vote?
Book review committees in the community in my school district.
You want a committee to decide?
There are committees.
Okay. Well, I'm asking you, how do we decide whether the two books that I just referenced should be available in the library? What would you, if you were running things, what would you do?
All Boys Aren't Blue, the scene you mentioned, is about sexual abuse.
I know what it's about.
It's not
What would
erotic.
you do in terms of making the books available?
Context or not, the quotes were very clear and extremely inappropriate for a minor to be consuming. Anybody who argues and thinks differently must be blind. It isn't a matter of politics or sensitivity. Minors should not be exposed to this kind of content, and it certainly shouldn't be promoted in schools. We don't promote kids smoking cigarettes. We don't hire them and put them in the army, and we don't make them work without a worker's permit. So why do they get the right to read such explicit material? This is absolute disgusting. This is absolutely wrong. And the government is more worried about hurting feelings than they are hurting children physically.
Okay, you heard the books we're talking about. Okay, we're not talking about Catcher in the Rye. So tell me what you want, who gets to decide. And all I've heard is the librarians. And parents have nothing to do with it. And if that's your response, what planet did you just parachute in from?
Parents, Senator.
Or what country, more appropriately? This is not China.
Parents, Senator, for all due respect, parents absolutely have a say. My parents were immigrants, came to this country. We never checked out books without our parents seeing what books we were reading. They encouraged us to read
Mr.
books.
Secretary, I understand this is good for your politics back home.
It's got nothing to do with my politics. My bill is passed.
Of course it does.
My bill is
It has
passed.
everything to do with your politics.
I'm here to.
But you came here with a problem, and I'm trying to understand the solution, and you don't have one.
We solved the solution.
Other than to tell us that we don't agree with you, we'll be on the wrong side of history.
We solved the problem in Illinois. We fixed it because we
well, there are others you could work on.
We should have every right to be concerned with the people in government and educational institutions who push these agendas onto the youth. Why is it that if we do show concern, we're considered terrorist or labeled terrorist? And if they have no intention on stopping, should they be treated as promoting pedophilia or otherwise sexual content onto minors? I think some people need to start getting arrested and thrown in jail, quite possibly worse. Let us know what your thoughts in the comments. Till next time, this is Resist the Mainstream, reporting the news that the mainstream won't. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and of course hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest content. Until next time, take care, and we'll see you then.